Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel. Today we're making one of my favorite cuts of beef ever, and that is a flank steak. Now, flank steak is traditionally called maybe like a carne asada or a skirt steak, but we're gonna call it a flank steak today, and regardless of what you call it, it's equally delicious. So we're gonna smoke this flank steak today on my Pit Boss Platinum Series Lockhart, and we're gonna make a homemade green chimichurri to go on this. Oh yeah, if your mouth just started watering, just know you're not alone, mine did too. So let me go ahead and teach you how to smoke a flank steak and how to make this delicious chimichurri. So here we have our flank steak. This flank steak comes courtesy of Strip District Meats, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the best butcher you'll find anywhere. Go online and order from them at stripdistrictmeats.com. Now, if you've never made a flank steak before, you'll notice that the grain, it is very grainy. It runs this kind of horizontal way to the cut, and then there's not a ton of fat. There's some of this, but we're gonna cut that off. That's just like a hard fat deposit. Let's take a look at the other side here. Again, cut a little bit of this out, some of that. Little tiny bit of silver skin here, that's gonna go away as well. So when we're done, we're not gonna have a lot of fat. This particular cut of meat does not have a lot of fat anyway, so that's why it's gonna be necessary to not leave it on the smoker too long, because we don't want it to dry out. Now, a lot of people would marinate this cut. I've done that before historically, but in the essence of time, I'm gonna show you how to do this without having to do any sort of marinade. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim off some of these fat pieces, and then we'll be ready for our next step. So start with this kind of thick chunk of fat there. Again, like we always say, you want that super sharp knife. And we're gonna go just until we hit the meat like that. You don't have to go like crazy with this. Just that this isn't gonna be in the smoker for a ton of time. So any thick pieces of fat like this are basically just gonna stay fat. You'll notice probably a little bit of discoloration here. That is totally fine. That's just from sitting in the packaging. So nothing to worry about there. All right, so after trimming, this is what we have. Didn't cut a ton of fat off of there, maybe like, I don't know, a quarter of a pound or so. Now it's time to go ahead and season this up. Now, it does have some residual moisture left in it, so I'm not going to put any sort of binder on this today. I'm just gonna go ahead and season. Now I'm gonna keep it super simple. We're gonna go salt, like so. I'm using kosher salt here, and pepper. Just salt and pepper. That's right, nothing crazy. That's it on there like that. You'll notice that I'm not doing a really heavy coat of this seasoning, and that's just personal preference on this particular cut of meat, because it is very, very thin. And just for whatever reason, on thinner cuts of steak, I like to have a little bit less of the seasoning, because it's gonna be kind of overpowering if there's a ton of it. Flip it over, salt, and pepper. Now normally I'd tell you to, make sure to get the sides, but there really aren't sides on this. It's such a thin piece of meat. And because it's so thin, that means it's not gonna take very long. And you can see here that most of that seasoning is staying on due to that residual moisture. And that's all we're gonna do to it. Now it's time to put it on the smoker, so I'll tell you how we're gonna do that. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm smoking today on my Pit Boss Platinum Series Lockhart, and I'm using the Pit Boss Hickory Blend pellets, which are fantastic on this particular type of beef. Now again, I mentioned this already, but because this is such a thin piece of meat, we don't want to overdo it. We don't want it to dry out. It already doesn't have a lot of fat. We basically just want to impart some smoked flavor to it. So I'm going to leave my Pit Boss on the smoke setting, which is going to hover it between 160, 180 degrees completely. And we're going to do that for about 30 minutes, because really all I'm looking for at this point is just to impart that smoked flavor. Then we're going to reverse sear it. You've seen me do that a ton of times. It's as simple as opening the flame shield on the Lockhart and then letting it heat up, and then putting it right on for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes per side, flipping it over, and then doing that again until it's up to the temp that I want, which today is going to be about medium, a little bit between medium rare and medium. Even if you don't have a Pit Boss pellet grill, any pellet grill that you have is most likely going to have that sort of smoke setting. That's what you want to leave it on, but no longer than 20 to 30 minutes because anything after that, and it's really going to start to toughen up and it's just not going to be good. So it's time to put this flank steak on the Pit Boss. Let's open this up here, and we're going right on the grates. There we go. Just like so. All right, so I'm gonna come back and check the temperature using my internal meat thermometer, and once it gets to like 130 or so, I'm gonna pull it off and put it on a plate and just kind of tint it with foil until I can get the Pit Boss up to a screaming hot temperature like 450 degrees. And then we'll reverse sear. So while this cooks, let me show you how to make the most amazing homemade chimichurri. All right, what do you think of my chimichurri? Okay, obviously these are just the ingredients, but this is the most simple thing that you can do. All of this stuff is just gonna go into my food processor, and that's how we're gonna make our chimichurri. So let me go through what we got here. First, we have 1 cup of fresh flat leaf parsley without the stems. There's no stems in there. Then we have a 1/2 cup of fresh mint leaves. This is all fresh. 1/3 cup of fresh oregano leaves. A 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar. 8 cloves of garlic with the skin removed, but they're not minced or anything. It's just they're sitting there like that. And then finally, you know it, you love it, a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. I love red pepper flakes. We might end up adding more. I don't know. We'll see. So now let me grab my food processor and we'll make it. All right, into our food processor we go. We start with that parsley. Just gonna add like so. Now, as I go along, I'm gonna go ahead and chop this a little bit, just so that everything fits in. All right, let's get the rest of this added in there. And same thing. All right, so that's enough to give it just a little rough chop. Next, we're gonna go in with our mint leaves. Now, I know it looks like we're really jam-packing this thing, but as soon as we add the liquid components to this, it's really gonna start to make that sauce that we want. Add in my garlic, my red wine vinegar, vegetable oil. See, that's really gonna start to bind that together. Oregano. Finally, those red chili flakes. All right, now let's see what we can do. Here we go. All right, at this point, we just take our spoon, kind of mix things around in there. And we're gonna keep repeating this process until this is nice and smooth. Oh man, it's starting to smell so good. Wow. Whew. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a quick little taste. See how we did? Definitely needs a little salt. Just add some of that in there. All right, and just like that, our chimichurri is done. So let's sit our chimichurri to the side, and it's probably about time to see how our steak is doing. All right, let's take a look at our flank steak. There it is. Nothing too exciting looking right now, but I'm going to take my internal thermometer, check that temperature. And right now it's 117, 118 right in the middle. So get right in here. 111, 112 over on this side. 117, 120, 121. All right, so right in that same kind of general area. So we're not quite there yet. Gonna let this roll until it hits that internal temp that I'm looking for. Then we'll take it off and do our reverse sear. So I'll see you when it's time to do that. All right, I just checked and we're temping around 128, 131 all throughout the meat. So now it's time to take it off. Gonna let it rest on a plate, cover it in foil so it stays warm while the temperature on here gets cranked to 450 degrees. All right, my grill is now up to temp. It's screaming hot, and I love the smell of the smoke that's coming through here. That's those Pit Boss pellets. Oh, they smell so good. And now it's time to reverse sear this flank steak. Look at that fire rolling in there. And here we go, right on top of the flame. Hear that sizzle? Nice sizzle. Now at this point, probably 45 minutes per side, looking for the internal temp to get up to about 142. And then once that happens, I'm gonna pull it. It'll probably Continue to cook about 3 more degrees or so, 3 to 5, and then we're going to cut into it and eat it. So right now, I'm going to leave this for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll flip it. All right, let's flip. Pay attention to this color. It's going to be incredible, I can tell. Oh, look at that. Man, look at that beautiful color on there. Oh, man. All right, I got the temperature I was looking for. I rested it, and now look at this. Oh, beautiful. Not to mention, it smells like a dream. All right, I can already tell this thing is going to be juicy like crazy. So it's time to cut into it. Now remember, we said that the grain goes horizontal along the cut of meat, not to be confused with my grill marks that go this direction. So we're cutting against the grain. It all runs the same way on this piece of meat. And I'm gonna start right down here. And I'm gonna do a very traditional cutting method on this. I'm gonna cut it at a 45-degree angle and make my slices like that. Yeah. Oh man, that looks delicious. I'm going to show it to you, don't worry. All right, not going to cut any more for right now, but let's just see how we did here. Just grab a little piece of this. This one looks good. Oh man, look at that. That looks delicious. Oh man, you can see the juice in there. It's even got a tiny bit of a smoke ring. I don't know if you can see that. For not being in there, but for like 30 minutes plus a sear, it's pretty impressive. All right, so here's what we do. We take our slices, we kind of lay them out like so. I'm gonna sort of fan it, almost like a U shape. Because you know what comes next? You guessed it. That beautiful homemade chimichurri. Oh man, how good is that going to be? And for just a nice little final touch here, we pop this bad boy right on, which is the rest of our chimichurri. Look at that. Look at that. And friends, there you have it. It's absolutely gorgeous. That chimichurri smells out of this world. The cook on that is perfect. It's exactly like I wanted it. Nice medium. Oh, cannot wait to eat this. All right, everybody, the time has come to try this just insane looking, incredible smelling flank steak. With that chimichurri, oh, this is about to be so good. All right, enough talking. Let's go in here. Just grab a slice, just like that. Oh, beautiful. Kind of pull that apart. Oh, it just falls right apart. So incredible. Got that chimichurri on there. Here we go. Smoked flank steak with homemade chimichurri. Bon appetit. Oh man. Oh, so fresh, so delicious. Just that minimal salt and pepper. Oh, so good. Tiny bit of heat from those chili flakes. Really taste that combination, that parsley and mint and oregano. Don't mind me going back in. Oh, I mean, what else can you say here? But holy smokes, this is insanely delicious. Well, hey, listen, I know I say it all the time, but you have to try this. You saw how simple it was. We threw it on the smoker for about 30 minutes, took it off, let it rest, reverse seared it, made this incredibly simple chimichurri, and that's it. Well, I'm gonna get this inside so that my family can dig into this, and I guarantee it's not gonna last long. So thank you once again for tuning into the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel, and if you like this video, make sure that you click that thumbs up to give us a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Turn on the post notifications by clicking that little bell so that you're one of the first people to know as soon as we post brand new outdoor cooking content. And if you like beef as much as I do, you're definitely gonna wanna check out this video right here and this playlist of some awesome beef recipes that we've made outdoors on the smoker. And I'll see you next time.